to Career Uprising. I'm your host and professional career coach, Lorraine Rise. Join me as I guide you through an amazing journey of self-discovery and empowerment. If you are looking for work, changing careers, or stuck in a toxic job, then this is the show for you. I offer both practical and spiritual guidance to help you up-level and advance your career. Let's start the uprising. Hey everybody, you are listening to episode 25, Why You Should Change Jobs Every 5 Years. What did she just say? Change jobs every 5 years, right? You're probably thinking, I thought I wasn't supposed to do that. Hey everybody, as you know, I'm Lorraine Rise, and yes, I just said that. I will explain shortly what I mean by the title of today's show. But first, how are you doing out there? I'm so glad, as I always say, that you're here with me today. I am so grateful for all of my listeners. I say it every time, but I say it because it's true. I love you guys. I love this show, and I put my heart and my soul and my guts into it every week. So there you go. Thank you guys. And I really have the best listeners. I've had two people actually who I've really connected with well, write me some little kind words and reviews and on Facebook and that kind of thing. And I just so appreciate it. So ladies, if you're out there listening, thank you so much. I love that you love this show. And you guys keep it going. You really do. So thank you to everyone out there. And if you have benefited from this show, as those listeners have, please consider giving it a review. If you have an iTunes account, that's a great place to go. I'd very much appreciate it. If you don't have an iTunes account, send me something maybe on Facebook and I'll put it on my website. We'll figure something out. But thank you so much to those listeners and to all of them. So I have something really cool to tell you guys that I did this week. Before we get into the topic, I just want to let you know because this was so cool. I was invited on another show on this network, on Inflow Radio. This past Monday, I did kind of a guest spot on another show called Divorce with Heart. Now, I have to say, this was funny because when I told I'm happily married, and when I told my husband this, he was like, what? He just kind of gave me this like funny look. Like I just kind of paused and didn't tell him why I was going on the show yet. And that was kind of funny. So I'm happily married. I'm planning on staying that way. It's definitely a different kind of theme for that show, but it's kind of not when you think about it, okay? Because a divorce is a life transition, and Gina, the host, coaches people through that transition, and a career change is a life transition as well, and I coach people through that. So we're both coaches really, and we both help people through life transitions and changes, and so it really isn't that different. But Gina invited me on the show to talk about what women, or anyone really, but it was kind of geared towards women, can do if they are going back into the workforce after a divorce, and that happens to a lot of people. And usually it is the women traditionally who stay home and raise the kids, so they don't have that, work history steadily. And it can be a tremendous roadblock and really a source of low confidence, when you're trying to get back into the workforce and you haven't been in it. And maybe you thought you'd never have to be in it again. We always think that the marriage is going to work out, right? No one anticipates getting divorced. So it's a big issue and a big transition. And so that episode, I think we titled it From Stay-at-Home Mom to Career Woman, how to do it with ease. So I loved being on that show, and that's a fresh new episode. So go to inflowradio.com and go to Gina's show page. It's called Divorce with Heart. And it's the most recent episode on there about how to go from a stay-at-home mom to being a career woman. And the cool thing is, though, the advice and resources, I shared a lot of good websites and resources that I shared really pertain to people in a lot of situations. So if you're not necessarily divorced or a woman, but you've been out of the workforce for any reason and you're looking to get back into it, I think there's a lot that you can glean from that episode. So I would highly recommend it. I had a blast. Gina's awesome. I'm a big fan of her show. So I thought it was a really great, just kind of mutual relationship or combination, putting the two of us together on there. So go check that out. Absolutely. And while you're there, of course, you can go to my show page too, and you can always get all of the archived episodes. I'm starting to rack up a pretty good number of them there. I'm pretty proud. So you can go to my show page as well and catch up on any past shows that you have not listened to yet. All right. So let's dive in here to our topic. Why you should change jobs every 5 years. I thought I might get your attention with that title. So, what I'm going to lay out for you today is why it's not necessarily in your best interest to stay with one employer for a long, long time. And that used to be the general advice, right? And that used to be what people did a lot. And I know this because I work with so many people in my coaching practice who this is their situation. I work primarily with mid and late career professionals. And, those people now, they grew up in a world where it was really normal to stay with one employer for pretty much your whole career, 20 or 30 years. That's really not that uncommon. So I wanted to really address this because now today you're seeing what is called job hopping, right? And no one wants to be labeled a job hopper. But we all know that loyalty with employers is really not normal anymore. Very, very few people are staying with one employer for a long time. And I think that you could put blame on both sides. A lot of people say, oh, employees are not loyal to the employer anymore. But you know what? I would argue that employers are not necessarily as loyal to the employee. And, my generation is growing up in a world where pensions don't exist. Like, I laugh at that. I'm like, pensions, what is that? Like, no one gets those anymore. So you could certainly argue that it goes both ways and that there's not as much reason for people to be as loyal to employers. So I want to talk about this today. And I think that I'm probably going to contradict maybe a lot of what you have thought or been told or read online in the past. I love challenging conventional wisdom on this show. I do that a lot. I think that following, what a lot of people say, or conventional wisdom, I guess, is a great way to have a conventional life. And personally, that's not what I want. For me, I want to dig deeper than that. And I want to have an amazing life, one that serves me in the highest way. So sometimes in order to do that, you have to think for yourself and you have to question a lot of what you hear and a lot of what you have previously believed. And I want to try and, maybe you know this already, but if you don't, I want to try and open your mind today to the possibility that it's okay if you change jobs every couple of years. And I'm going to define that more specifically, but there actually can be benefits. And it's not just okay, there actually can be benefits to you changing jobs more frequently. All right. Because I'm kind of going to share with you what I see and what, as a coach who's worked with folks who've been with one employer for a really long time, what happens to those people and what, there's benefits to that, of course, but there's also drawbacks. All right. That, and that's often what drives them to a career coach sometimes, is to overcome some of those drawbacks and some of those things that maybe they have missed out on by being in one place for a really, really long time. All right. So let me also go ahead and define for you what I mean by frequently or changing every couple of years. So when I say that, I'm talking about maybe every 5 to 7 years. Okay. I'm not advocating that you change jobs like every 1 to 2 years or anything like that. That's a little quick. And if you do it that quickly, you probably are going to look like that proverbial job hopper out there, and you are going to miss out on some of the benefits that I'm going to lay out. I've got, I think, five or so. Yeah, I think I've got five benefits that I'm going to lay out over the course of this show as to why you might want to consider changing jobs a little bit more frequently. But I'm not talking about every year or even 2 years. I'm talking about a little longer than that, maybe every 5 to 7 years, something a little bit more reasonable, in there long enough to stay somewhere and contribute and gain and build your network and a lot of different things, but then not staying too long that you get bored or complacent or out of touch or anything like that. Okay. So let's dig in. What I'm going to lay out for you, and I think I make a pretty convincing argument, are 5 reasons why changing jobs every 5 to 7 years or so can actually benefit you. All right. So here we go. Number one, you will learn how to job search better because you'll do it more often. All right. And so many people that I work with have, like I said already, have been with one employer often for decades. And I'm telling you, they all say the same thing. I've never had a job search before, so I don't know how to do it, which is okay. That's expected, right? Or they don't even have a resume. The last time they touched their resume was 25 years ago. So we're kind of starting from scratch. A lot of people say that, oh, I don't have a resume because I never needed one because I've been with the same employer for 20 years. So if this is you, that's okay. That's absolutely okay. I help people through this all the time. But the good news is there is a solution for this, okay? Because these same people also, because they don't have a resume and they don't know how to job search, their confidence is lower. They don't feel like they're prepared and equipped for a job search. And you could find yourself in a job search at any point. It may not be voluntary, right? It could happen. You could get laid off. You could get fired. The company could liquidate. A lot of things could happen. So I want you to be proactive and have the confidence in the resume and all those things ready before you need them. But it's only natural, of course, that your confidence is going to be lower when you don't do something very often, right? So one of the remedies for that is to do it more often. Okay. Now, I'm not saying with this that I want you to change jobs just to do it, right? We don't want it to be arbitrary. There needs to be a reason and a benefit for you. But I'm just saying that the advice kind of slices both ways, right? You shouldn't just stay somewhere just to stay somewhere, but you also shouldn't jump ship just to do it either, right? There needs to be a reason, but I want you to realize that there are one of the primary benefits of changing jobs more often is that you get better at doing it and your confidence is higher. And there's just a lot of reasons. Okay. So what I'm telling you is that if you are feeling the urge to leave for a certain reason, it's okay to. Don't, and you've been there at least 4, 5, 6, 7 years. It's okay. You're not a job hopper. All right. As long as you have good reasons, you do stand to benefit, at least in that one way. Okay. So that was number one. You'll learn how to job search better because you do it more often. Number two, you're going to be forced to stay relevant and competitive in the job market. So this one is kind of a natural extension of the first reason, right? So the more you do something, the better at it you get. Plus, when you're in a job search, you're in a naturally competitive situation. Okay. So what that means is naturally you're going to do things that make you more competitive. You're going to spruce up your resume and your LinkedIn, and maybe you're going to start networking and that type of thing. You start to do all of those things that make you sharp and appealing and competitive. Maybe you'll even go out and get a certification or get some additional training. And so you can add that to your resume as well. So if you want to stay relevant and appealing to employers, well, consider getting yourself into the job market every couple of years. Now, you don't necessarily have to take something, again, just to take it, but put some feelers out there. Just ask the question and just spruce up your LinkedIn and draw a little bit of attention to yourself maybe, and just kind of get out there. Even if you don't end up leaving and accepting something, at least getting engaged in that process is going to help you stay sharp and stay on your toes, okay? It's good every now and then to just kind of ask the question, is there life out there? Right? Is there life beyond the company that I'm at? You need to ask yourself that question. Is this job still working for me? Is this still what I want? Am I still showing up the way that I want to? I think that one of the biggest mistakes that people can make sometimes is to not ask themselves that question. And that's where things start to get a little bit stale, and you start to get bored, and you start to get complacent. And, when you stay too long, then you can really be afraid of leaving because it's been so long since you've been in the job market. So you don't feel confident about it, and nothing's up to date, and you're totally unprepared. So what do? You just stay where you are, right? So I don't want you to do that. All right. I want you to feel like, yes, I'm prepared. Should I want to or need to make a move, I can do that. I have the confidence and I have everything that I need, all the documents and everything I need to support me if I want to do that. So a good way to do that is to just put your feelers out every now and then and see what's out there and keep yourself up to date, whether you actually make a move or not. Got it, guys? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take just a little quick commercial break, but when we come back, I've got plenty more. I have 3 more compelling reasons why you should consider changing jobs more often. And in particular, I think you're going to like number 3, which is the first one we're going to hit when we come back, okay? So stay tuned and we will be right back. While the show takes a short break, I want to tell you how you can work with me personally as your career coach. My signature program, Career Transformation, is perfectly designed for clients who are going through a major career transition. If you're changing fields, returning to the workforce after an absence, or maybe you're undecided on a career path, then this is the program for you. Through the coaching process, we'll gain clarity on your path and craft a job search strategy to support your big career move. If that sounds amazing, take action now by heading over to my website, worksmartcounseling.com. That's worksmart, COUNSELING.com, to learn more about the Career Transformation Program and apply for a phone call with me. All right, let's get back to the show. And we are back. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with me. I have plenty more to dig in here with you guys. I have 3 more awesome reasons why you might want to get rid of that old stiff advice that says that you should always stay with one employer as long as you can. Because I think that you would agree that advice really just doesn't work in today's modern world. I mean, if one employer is working for you, great, good, stay there. But if it's not, I want you to know that there can be benefits to getting yourself out there. It's okay to do. And before the commercial break too, I kind of defined changing jobs more frequently as a good kind of frame of reference there, about every 5 to 7 years, something like that. Not a whole lot more frequent unless you really need to go for some reason. But I'd say that sweet spot, in my opinion, is around the 5, 6, 7 years, something like that. So, all right. So we laid out 2 reasons already. And number 3, I think you're going to like this one, guys. Okay. People who change jobs more frequently make more money. They do. Maybe that's hard to believe, but it's true. And there's been a lot of research actually and studies and things that have shown this, that people who change jobs every couple of years over their lifetime will nearly always earn more. Okay. So if this doesn't seem intuitive to you, if it seems kind of counterintuitive, think about it for a second. Okay. So if you stay with one employer for a long time, what are you going to get every year? You're likely going to get maybe that 3 or 4% raise every year. Okay. Assuming they don't freeze raises or something like that. And assuming you're performing up to standards and the company has the funds, there's a lot of factors in there. You'll get maybe a 3 to 4% raise each year. I've actually seen less than that. Believe it or not, I've seen 1.5%. Or maybe up to 5 or 5.5%, something like that. So that's what you can expect if you stay, especially if you stay in the same job, provided you don't get a promotion. That's what you can expect from them every year. Okay. But on the flip side, people who go and negotiate another offer with a new company outside, it is very common for them to be able to get a raise. Most people, when they are doing the same line of work, but go to another company, very frequently get pay raises, maybe 5, even up to $10,000 more. That right there is a great reason. That's a significant pay bump right there. Okay. And then think about it. Any of your future raises at that company are now based off of that higher salary that you've negotiated. And it may seem odd to think, well, why would companies pay more for this outside talent than what they have internally? But let me tell you, they do. And I think part of the problem with this, there might be other factors in there, but I think one of the things about this is that when you are already doing a job, you're already in with the company, you've already been doing that job for them for X number of years, it's kind of harder to negotiate more because you've been doing it for that previous salary all this time, right? But when you go somewhere else, especially if you're currently employed, you don't necessarily have to take that job. You have an option. So therefore, you have more power, more negotiation power happening there. So that's kind of how you're able to be more competitive and get a more competitive offer than if you were to just keep doing the job that you've been doing because you've already been doing it with them and they've already agreed to a salary with you. So it's less likely, unless you get a promotion, that you're going to get some massive pay raise. Okay. So think about that. I know it sounds backwards, guys, but this is how the corporate world works. Okay. And this is how salary negotiations work. So I don't normally advocate just following the money just to do it because money doesn't make the job better at the end of the day, right? But that's another benefit of it that I want you to consider, that you could be losing money by staying in that same job or that same company for too long. Okay. It's weird, but true. All right. So number 4, if you change jobs more frequently, you are less likely to get bored or complacent. Okay. This is another thing that a lot of studies have shown, that after about that 3 to 4 year kind of mark at a company, the new learning and the new skill acquisition and the growth, it tends to level off for most people. So when you have a new job, you are kind of in growth mode. You're getting acclimated to the company. You're really kind of on your game. You're trying to perform better. And you have that kind of mindset of developing new skills and getting used to your role for a while. And that lasts for a little while, but it wears off and plateaus after a while. And this is where people start to get comfortable and they stop trying as hard. And maybe they don't want to go out and get that, certification or earn that extra degree or whatever, unless the company's going to pay for it or something like that. Right? But I want you to be more proactive than that and take more personal accountability than that, and recognize that you need to take responsibility for keeping yourself sharp and relevant and engaged. Okay. So, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go look for a new job. Sometimes all you need to think about is, how can I transform my current work? Maybe I can take on some additional responsibility somewhere. Maybe you can look at getting a promotion or a transfer within your current organization or some kind of new assignment. Sometimes that's the solution, but you need to kind of be aware that when people get to that hump of like a couple years, usually around 3-4 years, that's where things start to drop off, the growth and the learning and the effort and the engagement. Okay. So that's where you want to ask yourself, all right, do I still like working here? Maybe I just need some new responsibilities or a new team or a different title. Or do I want to put myself out onto the market and see what's out there? And maybe that's the right way to kind of challenge myself and get over this hump here. So I want you to think about your long-term career growth and skill development and make sure that you don't get too comfortable where you're at. Okay. And lastly, number 5, the 5th benefit to possibly changing careers every couple of years is that you will grow your network. All right. And your network, I've said it before, is your net worth. When you are talking about your career, whether you own a business or you work for the man, either way, the people who get the best jobs are the ones who have the best networks. All right. And so if you think about it, if you work for, let's say, 4 or 5 different organizations over the course of your career, well, it's only natural, really, that your network is going to be larger than if you had stayed at one company. Because if you think about it, if you stay with one employer for 25 years, the bulk of your network is probably just going to be from within that company. Now, that's not 100% true, but I think for the most part, you're mostly going to know people within that organization. And that's really not going to be that beneficial for you when it's time to go outside of the organization. So that's something else that you want to think about is, as you change jobs, you acquire more and more connections at these different companies, which can then in turn be invaluable for you when you are in a job search again. Okay. So there you have it, my friends. 5 reasons why you might want to consider changing jobs every 5 years and why you might actually benefit from it. Man, that went by fast. That is about it, you guys, for episode 25. So I hope that these reasons made sense to you. And remember, don't jump ship unnecessarily. Make sure you have good reasons and that you think it'll be beneficial, but at least consider the benefits of it, okay? And so I want to say too, as always, if you like what you hear on the show, if this is kind of your jam and you think that this is cool stuff, well, consider working with me as your personal coach to kind of take it to the next level and get some real results. But also, even if you're not ready for that, if you have a career question that you'd like me to answer on air, and I can do it anonymously or I can say your name, whatever you want, email me that question or send it to me on Facebook or LinkedIn and I'll read the answer to you on air. I'm also looking for a few good men and women who might like to be actually coached on the air. We would schedule it during our recording time. We'll have you connect in and I'll actually converse with you and coach you through whatever your question is on the air. Super, super fun. So if that opportunity speaks to you, let me know. You can email me at Lorraine@careeruprising.com. Let me know what your question is and if you want me to read it on air or if you'd actually like to join me on the show. It's free and you'll get on-the-spot coaching either way. All right? Whatever you need, I got your back. Okay, guys, until next week, when I have a fresh topic, I want you to go out there and be brave. I love you guys, and I will talk to you next time. That's it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard today, please consider giving the show a positive review on iTunes. It would mean a lot to me, and it would help to spread the word so that others can learn about the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and I can't wait to connect with you again next time on Career Uprising.
This show is brought to you by InflowRadio.com, the best curated talk radio network for personal development, wellness, spirituality, and conscious business.